That's where I started having a reflection on what it was that I was doing and what impact I may have been creating. The reflection that really got me was I started questioning, wondering if I was not in any ways misleading the people of God. I wrote 2024 year of surrender. That's the word that came to mind, and I wrote it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a long overdue video. I have disappeared for a very long time, to an extent that I received a message from one of you guys saying that as a follower, the person was complaining that I've disappeared for a long time. That was mid-May. I can't remember what my response was at the time. And then again, the message was sent. This time around, it was a voice note. She sent it in July, somewhere in July. And at that time, I made a promise to her. I said, I will make sure that I release a video in August, before the end of August. And that's the main reason I'm sitting here recording this video. Besides that, I've been meaning to record a video for you guys and give you an update, because you do deserve to know, get some updates, because I had said that I would be releasing a video every month, and that didn't happen as was planned, to an extent that I put down that video where I made that promise that I will be publishing a video every month. That was from last year, 2024. So this video is, I'm doing this video to give you an update of what has been happening. I'm gonna be talking here and there, just don't mind me. I don't have a point by point list of what I'm going to be saying. So I'm just gonna be talking and just talking to you guys, giving you an update of how my 2024 went. And I've been wanting to do this. It was somewhere in June to July when I wanted to release a video and give you guys an update, but that didn't happen for many reasons. And maybe let me just explain a bit about myself. Me and Spotlight Oil and Water. I don't like Spotlight, but because of what I do, that then puts me in a position where I have to put myself out there. But preferable, I'm not the person that will just want, out in the front and, be seen and, all eyes on me. Preferable, I'm not that person. But I'm not shy, definitely not shy, but I just don't enjoy spotlight, the spotlight. And this, what I'm doing here, videos are very weird. Even just taking this video, I think this is my third press on the record button, because I'm like, this feels so weird. I prefer speaking with a live audience. So preferable instead of sitting in front of a camera like this, because it feels so weird that I'm just speaking to a camera, staring at a camera. Whereas if I'm speaking in front of people, I can see people, I can feed also from your energy. I'm giving my energy, you're feeding off my energy, I'm also feeding off your energy. I can see your reaction, that is what I prefer than just sitting in the chair like this. I prefer having a conversation with somebody. And even with this video, if maybe there was somebody that I'm interacting with, I'm like, okay, they're asking me these questions and everything that you may possibly want to know about. Especially with me, who I made a promise that I'll be running a marathon. But I'm not here about that. I've got a separate video for that. And because I'm gonna be talking here and there, I hope you will be following through what I'll be sharing with you. Hopefully it will all make sense and you'll be able to connect the dots. 2024 started just like any other year. You have your visions and goals, you write down your goals. On the 1st of 2024, I wrote down my goals, my top 3 goals for the year. And this is the book where I wrote my goals for 2024. This is the book. It's a plain, simple book, 2 counter, 3 quire. This is anyway, it doesn't matter what it is, but you can see it's just a plain book. I laminated the book, wrote everything. I've been writing on this book. I've been writing my goals on this book, but here, this is the page where I wrote my 2024 goals. The first, I had 3 top priorities. I had the spirituality goal, and I had a family goal, I had a business goal. And then at the bottom, I listed a list of my desires. But the ones that I wanted to really focus on were the top 3. The one around spirituality, the main thing I wanted to do, I wanted to enroll in the Kingdom Leadership School at church, which I did. I completed the program and I graduated. It was a great experience. I grew spiritually, which is what I believe had influence on how my year went. I remember this one time I was sharing with a friend when we met towards the end of the year. I was sharing with her what a great year I had last year. After I mentioned that to her that 2024 was a great year for me, she was like, oh, okay, you know, she in anticipation to hear what exactly happened during my year. And I was like to her, it's not even that I would say great things were happening. It was a great year because I felt like I was more in touch with myself. I got to learn a lot about myself. I grew spiritually, and not in a sense that things were just flowing for me. I had challenges, I had battles. In some instances, I was in quest for answers in certain things. The change actually happened because of the second goal around business. I wanted to grow my business. To put as much effort as I could to make it successful, to make it, generate income that was more sustainable. So, and I had plans. I put down plans on how I was going to get around that. I did have. The year started off very well. I started my year on a high note. I ran strategy session. Thanks to Kuyasa for trusting me to conduct their strategy sessions. I've been doing their strategy sessions yearly. For the past 2 years, I've been doing their strategy sessions, and I'm grateful for them trusting Winning Leap. And soon after, I had a speaking engagement, and soon after I was starting the workshop. I did the goal setting workshop in February. So it was really like my year started on a high note. January, February. The goal setting session was in February. That's where, after that session, that is where things started changing. That's where I started having a reflection on what it was that I was doing and what impact I may have been creating. The reflection that really got me, that made me to take a step back, was I started questioning, wondering if I was not in any ways misleading the people of God. Why I'm saying misleading? Because with goals, us as coaches, we always preach that we need to take actions for things to happen, and that is true, right? And we always encourage that you set your goals, you go after your goals, you push. That's what we do. We encourage you to do that, and that is all good and well. But where this came from for me was around the goal setting specifically, I mean, not the goal setting, the vision board, because I was conducting the vision board, and that reflection came after. It was like, okay, let's look at what the vision board says and the content that I deliver when I do the vision board. As much as I will touch on the element that we are doing what we do, and everything at the end of the day is not entirely dependent on us. We can plan things, but at the end of the day, what really happens, God decides on what on whether or not those things happen. When I reflected on this, I felt like maybe there was not much emphasis on that. The most attention is about you doing this, you doing that, making sure things happen, and having that vision board, putting that vision board in a place where it's visible for you to always see. Make sure you see it every day so that you are motivated to go after this goal. So, and I had a moment of thinking, how do we then define that thin line or that borderline between saying using the vision board to motivate you, and making sure that you look at your vision board on a daily basis and get your motivation from it, to the possibility of using that vision board as an idol. And at that point, I was like, okay, I hope in how I conduct the sessions, it's not in any way saying that this vision board must now be your God, and thinking that everything for things to happen, you must have a vision board. You don't necessarily have to have it, but it helps, and I still believe in that it helps. And I still believe in the session, but what got me was more of, okay, Phindi, you are aware of this, but are the people that you are encountering and you are facilitating these sessions to, do they also have the awareness to separate this vision board from idolizing it and following it as a guide, just as a guide, not as an idol? That is where I started pondering about the session and how I could make it in such a way that it does not mislead and people end up taking the vision board as an idol, which is definitely not what I would intend for people to do. Because this way is, okay, this thing now, I've got the earpods, because the vision boards are not for us to idolize, they are for us to provide that vision of what it is that we want to achieve and how we are planning to do it. And I also had my own vision board, by the way, and I'm sure you can see it right behind me. It broke, it fell off, and I ended up here. That one also is a story. This story of a vision board. Let me show you my vision board. Oh, it fell. So this is my vision board. It fell and broke. Vision board. This is my vision board. I designed it last year, 2024. During the session that I was facilitating, during the session that I was facilitating, I also designed my vision board. And this frame, by the way, it was a gift from the host of the session. Anyways, here you'll see there is me. It's not me, but it's a picture of a person in a race. This represented me running the marathon, not necessarily winning the race. I'm not about winning the race. I'm just about running and finish the marathon. So I use that picture, the healthy living, etc., etc. And this is like, you can see husband and wife, goals, family goals, man, partnership goals, right? And then there was traveling and family goals and here I've got God at the center of it all. Fitness goals and passive income there, and then mula here, money. Don't know if you can see properly, money, and then there my coaching business, and then yeah, this is me in a poster as a guest at Umhlobo Wenene Kukhanya Gayazana. This was me, and this was meant to happen. This one specifically, I had a date on Wednesday, on the 15th of May at 10:10. I made this design, took it from, because I listened to the show and I would see posters. I took one of the posters of their guest and saw how it looks. I redesigned and put my face and printed, and my card there, my dream card, put it there. And this is basically a picture of me, but in the picture it's not really me. No, in a speaking engagement. This is speaking engagement in a big house here. And again, speaking engagement, that's basically just about it on my vision board. So this is the vision board I had. What did I get? Or maybe I'll cover that part at a later time. I just want to give you a bit of background. Anyway, that was the vision board that I created for last year. So after that realization and noticing what impact it may be imparting on the people that I was facilitating the session to unintentionally, I started noticing that I was, I might not now remember exactly how the occurrence of events, but I do know that a shift started happening after that vision board session I had facilitated. When you have your goals, you write your vision board. The next thing is to take action. And when you take action, there are certain parts of your life or certain areas that will not get as much attention, which is why you will end up having top priority goals, because it is impossible that you would work on a lot of things all at the same time. I felt like my mind now was always preoccupied by this goal, what I needed to do. We're moving from this one, you just completed this project, then right immediately after that you move on to another project to make sure that these goals that you have, you realize them. There was a figure as well which I wrote down as the figure that I wanted to achieve for the year, and I knew that it needed a lot of effort from me to make sure that happens. And I had listed what it is that I was going to do, and all those things are things that are possible to do, things that I could do. But I realized that, oh my gosh, this goal is really starting to consume me. And it was consuming me not in a positive way, not at all. I'll be lying if I'm saying it was consuming me in a positive way. Initially, yes, because then you are motivated, you're taking action, and it was great, and I could see things are happening because I'm making attempts. Things were happening until I realized, man, Pindi, this goal is what occupies your mind. You wake up, in about a few seconds later, I'm thinking about winning leap. Winning leap. This, that it's like my life is that. Of course, except for times where I'm actually doing the work during the day. Obviously, when you are working on something, you can't be thinking of other things. But I mean, like, anytime where I'm occupied by anything, it will be me thinking about what it is that I needed to do. It's like you're always on the go. That's how it felt. And I was like, hang on, this goal is now starting to be an idol, and that is a problem. That is where the intensity of what I had realized or what I had thought about with about the session that I had facilitated, if it was not in some way communicating to people to idolize their goals, that came on strong. I'm like, it is possible, because Phindi, you are aware that these are goals and they are just goals, and and very aware that if you set goals, they might not turn out the way that you would like them, because if it's not God's plan, that's not what's going to happen. Okay? And if you know and you are fully aware of this, how much more for somebody that might not have that awareness? Could it be that you are really in some way contributing to people idolizing their goals and putting them before God? That was like, okay, let's really take a break. Let's really take a moment and reflect on things. If I, Phindi, notice that I'm starting to idolize my goal, maybe let me say why I felt like I was starting to idolize. It was constantly on my mind, and I was frustrated, feeling like things are not moving as fast as I wanted them. I'm feeling like I'm making efforts in some areas, but I don't see outcome. I mean, like, you can't really expect to make an effort on something right at the first time you're getting an outcome immediately. It doesn't always happen like that, And I could feel that I was starting to be impatient, and that was not good. And it started working on my psyche and on my mindset. But I'm like, you're doing this, it's not working out. Why must it be such a struggle? Why certain things must be such a struggle? Maybe it's just not what I think it should be. Maybe it's not what I should be doing. I started even thinking about that what if I needed to stop life coaching? And at that point, when I considered that, I was like, okay, if that's what it needs to be, then I'm happy. If I needed to stop doing all these attempts that I was doing just for me to recenter, then I'm willing to do that, because I don't want to intentionally go off track on the path that God had set for me. But although I've had realization and multiple confirmation that life coaching, personal coaching, it is, what I need to be doing. But I started questioning that, if really I should be doing it, and I made a decision that I needed to stop everything. I started because the vision board, where I put it by my bedside. I decided to take it off and put it in the wardrobe. I didn't say anything to my husband. I think I said it weeks after. He had noticed that it's no longer there, but I guess it never came to mind to him to ask why it's no longer there. But then there was this other morning where I just shared with him what I was going through, and I told him why the vision board was no longer there, that I wanted to make sure that I recenter and clear things out and make sure again if these are in alignment with God's path for my life. I put it on the wardrobe because I was like, it's not to say my desires and goals, I'm putting them to trash. I just want a clear mind, because at that time I decided to take time to seek God and get guidance from him again, so that I know that the path I was on was the path that he wanted me to walk. And I didn't want any distractions. I put it away and I seek God. During this time, I'm still attending my classes at KLS, the Kingdom Leadership classes. I'm still attending my classes, and some of the topics that were covered, they dealt with me. There was this one. Obviously, I'm not gonna share the content of the course, because then, people that would like to do it, it would not be good for, in fact, not even just for people that would like to do it. It wouldn't be right for me to share the content, because that's the church's content. But there was this topic about do not be offended. It was on offense. And for me, it was like all the topics that were covered, well, not all, but majority of the topics that were covered, I would experience certain things that would come to light during those sessions before the session actually takes place. Because this one about offense, I had an offense, the types of offense are covered. And the offense that I had an offense against God. Not against. I had an offense on God. I think the against where that doesn't sound right. I had an offense on God. Because I felt like I was doing all the right things. Imagine all. But I felt like I was doing my best, but this is not happening. I'm doing things legit and they're taking forever. Having so many complaints. And there was this, on my vision board, you'll see that there's a section about passive income. And I did, like right in the beginning of the year. Went on, started the business that was going to provide passive income, having somebody running things for us. And it didn't start off which is one of the source of frustrations I had, because it was not coming along the way that it was supposed to go and what it was said it would do. It's not the networking schemes and all of those things. It's an actual business. Passive income, but obviously passive because I'm not physically there doing the work. Somebody's doing it, but all the admin and reports. This is now the issue. We need money for this and all of those things were happening. Insurances and all of those type of things. You still need to get involved, but things didn't go well. Until we took a different turn on running that business, things started looking better. When they just started looking better, an accident happened. When an accident happened, no insurance. The insurance had been cancelled, and now we cannot fix the issue and before then, because on that time, because at the time of the accident, I was now calm and no frustrations at all. But before that, I remember, there was an incident that happened. I think it's when the business was really rocky, like going down for Nyan, where I had frustrations, because I can't remember exactly what had happened. I think, let me just say what the business is, because then it's gonna make sense. Now, like I said earlier, I'm not the person that likes spotlight, and I don't really talk about myself much, and I feel like this video is is really pushing me to go there and talk about myself, because at the end of the day, this is a video about me. So please bear with me, because I'm not that person that would just I'll talk about myself, unless it's like in a close space. Then I don't have a problem about talking about myself, but I just like listening and engaging people. But anyway, this business I'm talking about is an Uber business. Initially, it was not working right, and the first driver had issues and got wrong people as customers. They pretended to be customers, and yet they wanted to take the car. They robbed him and took things. I think it was during that time where I was like, Aibo. And because I remember having a call, I was going to Rabbi Fields, going to watch my son play, and I was on the phone speaking with my mom, and I remember I was complaining. I think I was even crying that day. I was like, yo mama, I don't know now what to do, because you tried doing things legitly, doing things right, but just things are not coming along. And at that time I had frustrations, even at work, things, it's like, work is something else, but I'm not gonna go there. But work was also not, things were not really going well at work. It's like at work it's always mostly there than there. Yeah, let me just leave it there. So things are not going well that side, and then there's this business you trying, it's also going south, and I was frustrated. Oh man, mama, she listened, calmed me down, and like, hi, oh man, bless her soul. It goes away to mama. Thank you very much. But anyway, that was the time. Those months I was not having a good time at all. But what was strange is I have close friends, very close friends. We talk about just about almost anything. But I just couldn't bring myself into talking and expressing what I was going through. It felt like, and yes man, when there's so much clutter in your head, and how do I even explain? I don't have the words to explain what was happening in my head. But it's not on a level that you would say you are. I would say I was depressed. Definitely not anywhere close. I don't think anywhere close to that. But I was really. There were times where I felt stressed. Probably days where I would say, "Hi, I feel like I'm depressed." But it was like there was clutter in my mind. But the clutter was more around the direction to take. Mainly because I was fighting with myself, giving up the coaching business. But I just couldn't. I would get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm done. But something in me would just come back. I would have ideas of what I needed to do and what I could be posting, but I would hold myself back, because I'm like, Pindi, remember, you should not do anything until you clear. But it felt like there was a clutter in my head where I couldn't just make the decision. And I fasted a lot, I prayed a lot that time, wanting to get clarity about things. But and I remember months going by, I'm like, okay, if by this time still this thing is not going away, then it's a really confirmation that you must just carry on, go back. But what I didn't like, it was the fact that it would be almost just one thing I think of all the time. For me, it didn't feel, I didn't want that. I didn't want to be thinking for it to be the constant thing on my head. You know, if I wasn't doing anything, like always having these ideas, always think, okay, you must do this. It's good, but I felt like it was excessive and unhealthy, especially when I felt like when I got impatient, when I felt like God was not doing things the way that I wanted them at the time that I wanted. I mean, I don't know the time. I don't know his timing, what his timing was exactly. And I felt like, in fact, I felt it was everything was just stagnant. But when after with a clear mind, I would look back and be like, okay, but it was not really stagnant. ABC was moving, just that some of the things were not moving at the pace that I wanted, and then I got frustrated, and then things started adding up and adding up. I was like, okay, now I am done. But why I kept saying it was a great year, it's because I got to a point where I was like, let's just drop everything. And I think when I made that kind of decision was in April. When I started making that decision. I'm not sure when I put down my vision board when it was, but again, like I said, I should have made this video a long time ago because things would be clear at that time, because at that time I would still remember exactly the occurrence of events. But anyway, over time, that's where I decided, let's slow down and do things slowly and carry on with other things, focusing on other things, mainly family and spirituality. Those are the areas. But I would, even when I would do that, like I'm saying, I would start having these ideas. I started, that's where I got more clarity on who it is that I was going to serve, be my primary client, and what exactly. It was still around what I've been saying that I assist people on, but I felt like they had more clarity. And during that time, I started developing the mindset program. And that's when I realized that this thing is just not going away, because the moment I would feel like now I've gotten God's confirmation to say, this is what you're still on the right path, go ahead. Hey, I would be excited and be like, okay, let's go. Then, then there would be times where I would post, and it was something I forgot. In my goals, the page before my goals, after I wrote down my goals, I wrote this. I don't know if you can see. I hope you can see. Year of surrender. I said I wrote 2024 year of surrender. That's the word that came to mind, and I wrote it. After I decided to put the goals down, put the goals to rest, I remember thinking about the title of or the theme of the year. I put it down as year of surrender. I was like, yo, aibawo. What are you doing to me? I wrote year of surrender. And this is exactly what I was doing. But when I did that, to be completely honest with you, I didn't feel in any kind of way. I was content. I was at peace with my decision when I decided I'm just putting things down. I want a clear mind so that I know I'm going the right way. And if I still, my prayer was, God, if I need to carry on with coaching, show me. Take the desire away. Take the desire away. Or the dreams that I have around this coaching, take them away. And you must remember, just to be clear, coaching is definitely not my purpose. it is a transport, a means in which I live out my purpose. It's not my purpose. Coaching alone is not my purpose, because I could use a different vehicle to live out my purpose. Coaching at this stage is just a means. So it was more around, is this the means? Is this the transportation that I should take? Because with coaching, it is possible to sound as though you are saying everything is about you. Everything is just in your power to do. You are in control of everything. There's the possibility to purely sound just like that, to sound as though there is no space for God. And that's what I wanted to fix in my message. Because in my message, I wanted to always show that there is a place for God. It's first God, and then our goals, our desires. Because in my deepest and deepest of hearts, I believe that the dreams and desires that we have, God plants them in us. But how we go about achieving those goals is what differentiate whether it's godly or not godly. Remember, desires are just that, they are desires. Desires can also mean that it is something that is not necessarily something that God said, "Hi, naganjani, you must get this. This is what you will get." Unlike the plan that He has for you, He's got the core plans, the things that are essential, the reasons why we are here, and then He gave us desires that we would desire and want to go after. If the desires that we have, they take more priority than the plan that God has for us, I think that's where the problem is. Don't get me wrong, it's not wrong to have desires. God loves that. In fact, He even says Himself that we must delight in Him so that He can give us our heart's desires, because He knows that desires are not the, how do I put this, are not the core things that you need to get, that you must get, but His will is what needs to happen. It needs. Desires are wants, but he doesn't deprive us of our desires, but our desires should not take precedence of His plan and His will for our lives. That's the message that I want to make sure that it is like on the pedestal in my message. Okay? And I wanted to make sure that I do that well. But anyway, I guess you get what I'm saying. Like I said, I'm gonna be here every day. Bear with me. Just try and follow along. If you don't, there's somewhere where I've lost you, just put it down in the comments. Then I will answer or make another video to clarify. And in anything that I'm saying here, if there's a question that you have, feel free to ask me and I will answer the questions that you have. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments or say whatever you want to say in the comments. Feel free to do that. Maybe I should have apologized for being absent for a long time. I don't know. But this is what I believe. Let me know also what you think in the comments. Okay, for me, I felt like I report a lot at work and wouldn't want to have any other places where I would add on that list. Oh, now you must report, now you must report. Obviously, in marriage relationships, you consult, you don't report, you consult. So that's what where I'm at about the subject. But until that message from one of you guys, where there was a plea to release a video, it dawned on me that probably I should actually apologize for being absent for this long, because the moment that I give myself, there's a part of me that I'm giving away. There's a part of me that is saying, now you are I'm responsible. I'm to be held accountable to what I came here for. Because I put myself in that position, then you deserve the decency for me to say, sorry guys for being out of the picture for this long. And at this point, I'm not saying this is a comeback, because there are a number of things that makes this whole video thing difficult, apart from me withdrawing and all those kind of things. I mentioned earlier, the video, the camera, I prefer being in front of an audience than the camera, because with the video there's a lot editing that goes behind it. I edit the videos myself. At this point I'm not looking for a video editor, but at a later time I will, as things go smoothly, I will definitely need a video, somebody that will edit my videos. But at this point I do that myself, and that takes time. And just enjoy the logistics around capturing videos. I have to be representable. Whereas if it was audio, probably if it was I was just doing audios, I would be much more consistent. Let me know if you don't mind just audio. That would be better, because I'll definitely be much more consistent than the video. Because the video is like, sometimes I think of something that I could just quickly grab my phone, audio record, and leave a message and say what is on my mind at the time. It will be quick. But with a video, if that thought comes when I'm still in my gown and pajamas, or it's a bad hair day or something like that, or video, you need to plan. And some of the things I think about, they just at that time in the moment, and I can't do a video. I'm not in a position to record a video. That's one of the reasons why I'm not consistent with videos. And at this stage I don't really want to make a promise that I'm gonna be releasing a video every what. I wish I could, but I can't. But if it's audio, I can make a promise, because I do get ideas and I can do audio. But the video and the editing and that's a challenge alone. I think now this is the time where I can say, put this back up as I come to a close. This is the part, the running. Let's do a check of this. This I carried on pursuing, and I made strides, but because of an injury that I had, I ended up not achieving the goal. I've got a separate video for that. I've already done the videos. You must just go up. I must just load it. In due time I will load it. And then the healthy eating. I get the healthy eating. I must be honest, it's a challenge, but I try. It's a family thing. I'm saying that I try, but probably they would say I'm being too much about it. And I feel like this one, the couple goals, I feel like, yeah, we did well there. And the traveling, I traveled. I went to Zanzibar. That was the most awesome trip, or the girls' trip. I went with my cousin and her friend. It was an amazing trip, an amazing time. I truly enjoyed every single bit of that trip. And besides that, some of the things will just come by. I've never traveled like I traveled last year. And then family, yeah, it's good. Things went well there. But you know, with this area as well, it also goes with what each person within the family considers as a good time. Or because for me, when I have family goals, it's more around, spending time with the family and but how quality time. But my quality time, the way I envisage quality time would be different from somebody else, like my sons, my husband. That is different. So according to that, but for it was fairly wow, very good, happy with that. And this is what was put to a pause, the coaching, and the coaching then the coaching automatically means it affects the income as well. If things are not going well there, then it's like, and then the passive income, like I said, well, it started, and still, it's just obviously not as what one would like, but eventually things started getting better, and at the moment it's not really promising, let me put it that way. And then the rest, not the rest, the trouble when anything obviously didn't happen because I completely put that, not cancelled, put to a hold, because these goals doesn't mean because they were not done, and it's not like all of them were supposed to be achieved last year, but it was the goals written last year, some long term, and speaking engagements that did happen and still happening, and yeah, so it's not like everything just flopped. It was more the business that took the pause than everything else. That is basically what happened, and the reasons why I decided to be on the low, playing things low and disappear, and I didn't feel like I needed to say, because I felt like I just didn't feel there was a need. If something like that happens in the future, let me know. Is there a need or there is no need? It's okay. We just move. We just go along with things. And even with that, when I say that I stopped with coaching, the clients that I had at the time, I didn't stop with them. I just stopped acquiring more. I still worked with the ones that I had. Once I was done with them, it was it. I didn't enroll new clients. I don't think there will be another time where I talk so much about myself, because this channel is not for me to be talking about myself, but it's for me to be giving the knowledge that I have and share with you, because my passion and purpose is to empower, encourage, and give hope for people to become the best versions of themselves. And remember that the vehicle that I use to do that may not be coaching. It might change, just that at this stage it is coaching, mentoring, and might change. Whatever that God brings about and says is the way it will be. Yeah, so that is it. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Is there anything that I'm forgetting? Because I did say what my goals were and what I put down as my theme for the year, and that was tested. It was like, okay, you said year of surrender, now let's see you surrendering. And that happened. We surrendered, and at the end of the day I found myself back into coaching. There was no changes into what vehicle I need to use, and I believe that was confirmation. And I feel like it is still the route, it is still the vehicle, and I really enjoy this. So for now, it is what I am doing. This year, I just had a theme. I said my theme is about no matter what happens, I choose joy. That is my goal. Whatever happens, I choose joy. You think that's not going to be tested? Huh? Definitely. It's being tested. And I'll be like, hey, what are you choosing now? This is what's happening. What are you choosing? Sometimes I even forget about the choice. So be careful of what you say, because it's going to be tested. But not to say don't say anything. You need to say these things. This is how character is developed. What you commit into doing and what you proclaim with your mouth, it may just be tested. God is listening and He will test it if you can really deliver, if you can really do that. And Ultimately, when you are studying, you study and study and study. At the end of the day, you go into a test and write exams. That's how you test it, to see if you can actually pass what you have committed to do. So that is what's happening. And yeah, for now, that is it. I will leave it there. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and share with your friends to help this channel grow. I will see you in the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one. Bye bye.